Good morning or good afternoon, I guess, depending on where you're calling in from or joining us from. Let's go ahead and get started. I think we've got some people still coming in, but I just want to take a moment and welcome everybody. Thank you guys for joining. Today, we're going to be launching our mentorship program. This is the kickoff meeting for the 2021 program. As you guys might notice when you come in, you're on mute. You will have an opportunity at the end where we'll allow for some questions. We're just trying to make sure that this goes as smoothly as possible with a large group here. So really, really excited to be here with you guys today. We've got a really awesome program that we are so ecstatic about launching. We've put a lot of heart, a lot of energy into this, and finally getting it to see it launch is really exciting. So thank you guys for signing up to be a part of this. We are recording today's session, so you guys may notice that. We're going to have you on mute, as I mentioned, for most of the program today, and that way we can make sure it goes as smoothly as possible and we don't have a lot of background noise. You guys will have access to the presentation after we're done and the recording. We're going to put that out on the membership portal, and so that will be out there and available. All the charts and the recording itself will be out there. Chat is enabled, so you guys should have access to chat. You should be able to ask any questions, and then we'll go ahead and answer those questions at the end of the presentation today. We're hoping to wrap up within an hour and have some time for questions, and so we should have plenty of opportunity there. Again, use the chat to ask any questions as we go through. And with that, I'll go ahead and introduce my group that I'm here with today. And so for those of you guys that don't know me, my name is Carrie Shiflett. I'm on the board with Women of Asphalt, and I'm leading the mentoring program for the Women of Asphalt program. I am joined by some amazing women. So we have Natasha Ozipko today. She's the president of Women of Asphalt, and she's on the call. We also have Amy Miller, who is one of our founding board members, and she is a former president or the past president of Women of Asphalt. We also have Michelle Kirk, who is our deployment coordinator, and she handles all of our admin. So whenever you guys email the info of women asphalt.com, she's the one that you're usually interfacing with. And then we have Debbie Burke. And so Debbie Burke is on the mentorship program working group, and she's put a lot of work into this program. And so she's going to walk you guys through some of the tools today. So very excited. Thank you again for joining, and let's go ahead and jump in. So agenda?
Carrie,
Yep.
Let's see. So there's a couple folks that are having some issues in terms of sound. If you're having issues with sound, please just send us a note in the chat box. Sometimes the best thing to do if you're having issues is to get out and get back in. That will occasionally just solve the problem.
Yeah, and depending on how they're connecting, it may be better to go via phone if they're having issues with the internet connection. Phone might be a good option. Am I coming through clear for you guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
And as Carrie, as you had said, the recording is going to be recorded, so we will have it posted afterwards.
So I just have to say, just with Zoom, if you're not familiar with Zoom, it often has a pop-up that pops up after you join the meeting. So you're able to see the content, but until you click like join with computer audio, you won't be able to hear us. I know those people that can't hear us are not going to be able to hear that. So maybe I'll just pop that in the chat box.
Perfect. Thank you, Debbie. All right, so this is our agenda for today. We're going to go through overview of the program, give you guys a couple updates about where we are with the program, what's been going on with the Women of Asphalt organization and what we've been up to. Then we'll talk about the group, the mentorship cohort, and where we've got people located and what we're looking like and how that process was put together. Then we'll just talk a little bit about some of the benefits of the mentorship and how that works. And then we'll dive right into the tools, the resources, and we'll walk you through some of the stuff that we put together that should set you guys up for success. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Natasha, and she's going to talk a little bit about Women of Asphalt.
Good morning, ladies. I'm actually in Atlanta, Georgia right now. So it's just afternoon. If you saw me positioning my computer, I've got to get where the sun doesn't put me in the shadows for you. So I want to just say thank you to all of you who have chosen to participate in this program. And I am going to give a shout out to the first person who signed up for the program, and that was Vince Hafley from Ajax down in Florida. So Vince, on behalf of all of the women of Asphalt that are participating in this program, we just want to say thank you to you for doing this. And you know, it's a true testament that while Women of Asphalt is here to support women in the industry, we do need the help of the men in the industry as well. We need your support as well. So thank you very much for doing this. For those of you who know about our organization, we've been around since 2017. Amy Miller, who is Carrie just introduced, who's our past president. Amy, myself, and 3 other ladies, Audrey Copeland, Tracy Schlick, and Ashley Batson are the 5 founding members. Amy came to us a few years ago and had this idea, what about something for women in the industry? And this little match that she lit has turned into this blazing forest fire for us. I mean, I think we knew what we wanted Women of Asphalt to be, but when you get to where you're going, as you're going through this journey, we kind of sit back and, it's kind of a pinch ourselves moment, because we had a lot of great ideas of things we wanted to do. And this really has been the year that these ideas are coming to fruition. We were created to support women in the industry. And one of the ways we think we can provide the most support is through a mentoring program. So this is something that's been on our radar for the last couple of years. And we made a commitment that we are going to tackle items that we thought were important when we had the right people in place to make sure that we could do it. I don't want to say it correctly. That's not the right word. And anyone who knows me and has heard me speak, I'm very much an advocate for jump in feet first, even if you don't have all the answers. So I think we just recognized that we weren't the right group of people to put this program together. And we really needed Carrie Shiflett and Debbie Burke to come into our lives and say, we've got this, we know how to do a mentorship program. So we've spent a lot of time this summer working on it. We've got about 100 people that are signed up for the program right now. If you know anyone who's interested, unfortunately, we've already, passed the cutoff date, but we will be doing another program next year. So make sure that you keep those ladies and gentlemen, keep them in contact with us, and we will announce next year when they can sign up for the program. If you could flip to the next slide for me. When I talked about things that we thought were really important and we wanted to roll them out correctly, the national and local branches, if you saw any of our social media posts in the last couple weeks, we just announced that we've got 8 branches that signed up. We fully expect that there's going to be branches in every state in just a matter of years. And if there's not a branch in your state, we'd certainly love for you to reach out to us, and maybe we can get the ball rolling on starting one of those. But the Women of Asphalt branches really tie in with this mentorship program, and that it's about making connections. And while your mentors or mentees might be across the country, in an informal sense, there's an opportunity to create mentoring relationships within your state. And that's one of the reasons that the Women of Asphalt branches is going to be so beneficial to ladies within our industry. So with that, I'm going to pass it right back to Carrie, but I just wanted to say again, thank you to all of you who've made a commitment for this first year, this inaugural mentorship program. It means the world to us. We're going to give you the best that we've got, and we just hope that you find some value and a lot of joy in this program over the next year.
Thanks, Natasha. So as Natasha mentioned, we've got 104 participants in the program today that we've got matched up. So we have 56 mentees and 48 mentors. Really, really excited. Part of what we did when we were going through the matching process was really trying to understand a little bit about each of the people that we were matching and each of the program participants. So not only development areas and focus areas and areas where maybe mentors wanted to offer their knowledge or support in, but really who each individual was. And that was something that was really important to us with this program. Is in our mind, the foundation of any good mentorship program has to be built on trust. In order for that relationship to be successful, it's all about trust. And if you don't have trust and you don't get to know each other, it's really a surface level relationship, and it doesn't really get into growth and development and really get some of the best benefits out of this program. And so that's where we spent a lot of time. We recognize that we've got people matched up all across the country and in some cases the world. And so, we recognize that You may be on the East Coast and you may have a partner that you're working with on the West Coast, and that's okay. It's a virtual program. We really focused on the development needs, and that's where we put our priority in terms of matching. What does the mentor really want? What does the mentor need to grow and develop? And what does the mentor have to offer? And that's how we worked through the matches. And so it was a lengthy process, but it was something that we did take a lot of time, effort, and purpose in, and making sure that we found the right match for all of our folks. So with that, I'm just going to go over some fun stats, just so you guys kind of have an idea of where everyone is and who we've got in the program. So we've got participation in 31 of our 50 states, which is really, really exciting to see. If you guys want to pull up in the chat box and talk about where you're located and share that, that would be awesome. So I'm in the Seattle area, in Seattle, Washington, and so super excited to be here with you guys today. But we've got lots of folks all across the country and really all across the world, which is just phenomenal. Makes me really, really excited. So the other thing I'll just add is we've got all kinds of different positions, which is something that I think is really cool. We've got basically the full gamut of every type of, part of this industry that we touch is represented, which is just phenomenal. And I'm really, really excited to see where we go with this. So as I mentioned, we are global. We are in 3 different countries around the world. So we've got the US, South Africa, and Malaysia. And so we've got participation from all over the globe, which is really, really exciting to see. So with that, couldn't have done this without an amazing group of women who really put their heart and soul into getting this program up and running. On the screen, you'll see the mentoring working group. This group put all the tools and resources together, reviewed, did all of the matches, and spent a ton of time in their own time doing this. And I just can't thank this group enough. Simply phenomenal group of women that is absolutely dedicated to what Women of Asphalt is all about and trying to move us forward. So huge thank you to these wonderful ladies. Really, really honored to be a part of this team. And you're going to get a chance to hear from Debbie, who really was critical to putting this program together. She put, I don't even know how many hours in of her own time trying to build this out because it was a passion area of hers. And I'm just so grateful to have her on this team. So I'm going to hand it over to Debbie and we'll go from there. Oh, excuse me. Actually, I'm going to hand it over to Amy and Natasha. Thank you. And then we go to Debbie. Oh, Natasha, you're on mute.
Thank you. When we were talking about the mentorship program and the benefits of mentors and having a mentor, I was thinking back to my career. I've been working since I was 15 years old. I've never worked for a woman. In all the years I've been in working, which is just over 20, should we say, I've never worked for a woman. And I've been in a lot of industries that were male dominated, and there weren't a lot of ladies for me to lean on. And I definitely recognized that when I got into the asphalt industry. So for me, having a mentor, I talk about my experience meeting Amy. She and I connected a few years ago, and it's kind of just the stars were aligned with this. We both had this vision for Women of Asphalt. We knew that this was going to be very important to the ladies in our industry based on our experience in the industry. But it's been such a blessing for me as well to have someone who I can really confide in. I can lean on, somebody who, and we have very different backgrounds. Amy's a mother with, she's married and she's got 3 kids and a lot of animals at home. We're living very different lifestyles. And so to have someone with a little bit of a different perspective as well, it's been really helpful for me. So over the years, not only have I found myself a wonderful mentor in this industry, but I've also developed a friendship that it's just been invaluable to me. My friendship with Amy is priceless, and I adore her, and we have fun together. So, programs like this, they help career-wise, but they also help, they really enrich your lives as a whole. And this, I had told Amy that I was gonna share this story with everyone. So, it really does come from the heart. These programs, it's not just work and your personal life. It all kind of ties together. So I hope you ladies find this experience as rewarding, as enriching as I have.
Wow. Okay, she told me that she was going to say something, but she didn't tell me she was going to make me cry. So there's that. So just by the way, I don't have a farm at my house. It sounds that way. Sometimes it's like a funny farm, but 2 cats and a new dog. So as you all know, that when you take on a new pet, it's like having, you know, the child that just won't behave. So anyway, thank you all for coming on today and being part of this program. We're really looking forward to our inaugural mentorship program. You know, Natasha talks about, you know, what she's gotten out of this, but let me tell you, the benefits for me have been what she described and then some, not only with Natasha, whom I've just grown to just love dearly, but with all the other women that I've gotten the opportunity to cross paths with. I see a lot of you that I've met along the way on this call, and they've all been such inspiration to me. So one of the goals of Women of Asphalt is to retain women in the asphalt industry. And we felt like this was a very vital part of our program that we wanted to be able to offer to make that happen. So we've been so fortunate not only get to know women, but some really smart, dynamic women as well. And I've truthfully never been involved in a formal mentorship program. And so I remember, I think, talking to Natasha and Carrie and Michelle and saying, you know, when you first talked about this, I thought maybe it was like a pen pal kind of club sort of thing. And I was thinking, oh my word, like, I gotta add this in my schedule too. But then when they described what this really is and how this works and how organized it is and all the assets and resources they have, I began to get really, really excited about it. So I think you're going to be too. I think you're going to enjoy this, and we're really looking forward to going through this process with you. So with that, I will turn it back over to Carrie.
Okay, now, thanks guys. I'm gonna go ahead and actually transition to Debbie. She's gonna get us started and walk us through all of the tools and resources and show you guys how to find everything. So Debbie, you wanna take over?
Yes, sorry, I had to turn off my space heater. All right, well, welcome everyone. I'm Debbie Burke. I live up in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and I am one of the few Canadians on our working team, actually the only. And anyways, I really have enjoyed this. So let's get you started. I want to make sure that we launch you all on the right path, and that's what today's intended for. Okay, I hope I didn't double click. There we go. So I just wanted to run you through what the program cycle looks like. So we began our promotion back in July and to October, and we were asking for you to register during that time as well. Of course, we had our matching, and we've sent out all of the emails to match you up with your mentor or your mentee. And of course, now we're in our kickoff training having the 2 sessions. You only have to attend one of the 2. It'll be the exact same content. Of course, your first engagement then is intended to happen between now, if you're ready, but really in January. Your mentorship will last the whole duration of the year. The formal mentorship, like the formal Women of Asphalt mentorship, doesn't mean that you can't talk to each other after that. Hopefully by then you've developed a relationship that extends beyond 2021. But for that formal, like I'm committing these hours to you and you're committing those hours to me, really is intended to last the year of 2021. So like we mentioned, this is a virtual program that we had, but that doesn't mean you can't meet in person if it works for you. Obviously, the timing that we live in, it all is dependent on what your state by state or country by country rules are for those kind of things, but hopefully we get back to our normal interactions. There may be some opportunities for some workshops, whether it be within the Women of Asphalt program, within the Women of Asphalt mentorship program, or maybe something that you choose to attend virtually or in person outside of the program. Maybe you want to do that together, as well as any other industry events. Wouldn't it be fun if in the future you're able to meet up at a World of Asphalt and attend the Women of Asphalt programming that they have, the wonderful programming that they have at those conferences? Wouldn't it be that wonderful for you to sit side by side and be able to experience that together? So of course, after we've gone through our whole year, you're going to close out. We're going to, make sure that we do have the resources provided to make sure that you're going to close out your relationship in a healthy manner. Okay, so I just wanted to run through some roles and expectations, just to set you straight, maybe not set you straight, but to set you on your way. These are roles and expectations that you can discuss with each other in your first meeting, just to make sure that you are aligned. So the mentee always drives that relationship. I mean, eager mentors will, oh, did you have that meeting with your boss? Or did you, how did you like that workshop? Whatever. Absolutely, that's going to happen. It doesn't mean that that can't happen. But in general, the mentee, it's the responsibility of the mentee to drive the relationship, to show up with that energy and enthusiasm, set the goals, ask questions, listen, provide your feedback. And of course, maintain confidentiality, however you deem between the two of you your confidentiality is. And I'll get to that in a little bit as well. Of course, the mentor is there, actively engaged, actively listening, providing that time, supporting the goals, giving the advice. Maybe one of the goals is to expose to a larger network. So those kind of opportunities the mentor can provide, and vice versa, to be quite honest. And again, same, provides feedback and maintains confidentiality. So you are the mentee. What is the first move? So, oops. So of course, the mentee connects with the mentor first, and then both of you, before you have your first meeting, we recommend that you reflect on why did you sign up for this in the first place? Maybe go back to the form that you filled out when you were applying for the mentorship program, but signing up for the mentorship program. Go back to that, reflect, understand where you were at in that headspace. Maybe things have changed a little bit, so that's fine. Things evolve. Just think about why you are here. We have a whole suite of tools, some that are recommended, some that are optional. So we didn't want you to feel like you were overwhelmed with forms to fill out. These are all about resources to help you in your relationship. Many of you may have done mentorship programs before, and so you kind of get it. But some of you, this may be your first go at it. So have a review through those. It really gets your brain going in the right direction for that successful relationship. We have a personal blueprint as one of the resource tools that we recommend that you fill out. And that really will set the stage of showing like who you are right away. It's a great place to, I'll get into it, but you'll see that you can share photos, and it just gives that different visualization of who that person is, well, who you are to that other person and who that person is to you. And then reviewing the mentorship and confidentiality agreements, reviewing those, having some thoughts around it, and then you'll be prepared for your first conversation. And we will go through the mentorship and confidentiality agreements so that you understand why do we need something so formal? Well, we'll get to that. So then you're ready for your first meeting. So you're in your first meeting. Like now it's dead air. You're like hopefully turned on your video, and thank you everybody for turning on your videos. And I do really encourage you to make this as in person as it can be with your mentor, so you understand the facial expressions and the movements and the discomforts or whatever those visual cues are. So first off, recommend, of course, breaking the ice, get to know each other, small chit chat, and then share those personal blueprints. Really get a real quick trust building, really quickly figure out who the person is on the other side of that camera. Maybe you want to share some insights from this kickoff webinar. Of course, introduce any goals that you're working towards, like I'm looking for promotion, or I'm looking at trying to figure out how to say no, which is often a tough one for females, which you just have to choose when you say yes, turn it around. But anyways, so then of course, review the blank mentorship and confidentiality agreement together, discuss the meeting cadence and length, and then review any actions and commitments. So typically your first meeting would probably be an hour. We don't want to consume like 3 hours of time, but of course this is like each to their own. If you're having a beer, at 8 p.m. and you want to go to 10 p.m., like you go for it. If you're just having a lunch break and you're trying to get it in 45 minutes, like really it's completely up to the both of you. Of course, we want you to be open, honest, present, respectful, attentive, genuine, authentic, all of those positive adjectives, and really engaged with each other. Whatever you put into it, you're going to get out of it, and vice versa. You've got to put the effort in, and if you're just you know, sitting there, you know, doing some doodling on the side, or you know, thinking about work, it's not going to be that beneficial for you. Okay, so let's just take a quick run through the confidentiality and the mentorship agreements and talk about a few things of why it's important. So we'll start with the mentoring agreement. So goals and the purpose. You know, the first meeting, you're not necessarily going to have this form filled out. It's a conversation starter. So clearly identify, or at least, you know, talk about a few things that why both of you are at that table, what you want out of it. Again, go through those roles and expectations, have a conversation about what you want from each other. Okay. Again, this is a start. Like you know what, I really want access to your list of LinkedIn contacts. That would be really awesome. Okay, well, that might be unreasonable. So then you can start having conversations around, well, what are your goals and what feeds into this goals, so etc. But really having some conversation around that, so there's no surprises later on. Going through the confidentiality agreement and what that means. So we'll talk about that in a little bit more detail in a second. What may be some like ideas for mentoring activities and actions? So let's say you're in Calgary, Alberta, and you know what, I'm planning a trip down to Florida, and I'm trying to set up. I'm saying, you know what, sometime they're going to let me go to Disney World. They're going to let me out of the country. So it's, you know what, in October, Amy, I'm coming to Florida, and that's what I want to meet up. Yeah, she's telling me to come on down. But you know, those kind of things you might want to say, or you know, oh, I know that I'm part of such and such other what am I trying to say here? Some other group, and I know that they have monthly webinars, and that one of the things I want you to do is attend the webinar with me, something like that. You know, these things can evolve over time, but at the beginning, just having those brainstorming conversations are beneficial. Again, relationship ground rules. You know, when are you going to meet? How are you going to communicate? Like, if you're somebody who really likes short text messages, or like give quick updates on text, but the person, your mentor, you know, has a flip phone, it happens. You know, maybe they're not so into T9 texting and you're just into it. So you have to just establish that. Are emails okay? Should they go to personal emails? Should they go to work emails? You know, any of these things that maybe, you know, you just don't want to make anybody angry because you've communicated with them incorrectly. Any preparation, like, is this, does your mentor or mentee expect some pre-work to be done? And maybe it is a little bit more formal than informal. So just, again, go through these things. And the measuring success, so track your progress and how you're going to learn as you go. You know, I don't really have the greatest examples of these. I think a lot of the times, you know, it's the conversation starters. How do you link the measuring success back to them? I know for me, when I've been a mentor, I mean, I dive in feet head first. My whole body goes into it, really. And I mean, I'm there for them. So a lot of these things isn't about, you know, we evolve over time. But I do say that if you don't know these people, you have to just start having those conversations, even about how do you measure success? What makes you feel better? What makes them feel better? So, or feel like you're being successful. Okay, let's just step through this confidentiality a little bit. I just have to increase the screen size so I can read it for myself. So of course, it's extremely important, and it means something different to every single person. So let's just consider the first question. What we discuss stays between us for as long as we are engaged in the mentoring relationship. So does that mean that you can't talk about this to your loved one? Does this mean that you can't say to, you know, your colleague, oh, I just had a really great conversation with my mentor and they said blah, 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 whatever the points would be. And I think you need to go through and discuss this. What does this actually mean? Because saying that, oh yeah, of course it stays between us, and saying yes actually means you should not say this to anybody else. And I personally believe that's unrealistic. You know, all about learning is about, you know, taking a story and being able to tell somebody else and then them applying it to their life. So I think, you know, you might want to consider things like maybe you don't say the names, you know, but you're allowed to say, hey, my mentor said this. Maybe you're not allowed to refer to companies. You know, again, go through what that means. I would say don't have a hard, no, you can't discuss this with anybody. Understand what that means. We can freely disclose what we talk about in our conversations with other people. So, you know, again, if somebody is venting about something that happened at work and that mentor then is like, oh, well, I see them tomorrow for coffee, does that mean I can go pass it along to that person's, you know, the person that they're venting about? Again, setting these boundary conditions for yourself. After our mentoring relationship has ended, it's okay to talk about whatever we have discussed. Well, again, is that true? What if somebody accidentally disclosed something that could legally have ramifications for them? So, you know, I'm not trying to make this too heavy, but it is really important to talk about. If there is a demonstrated need to know, we can appropriately disclose our conversations, impressions, etc. Okay, so this is where this gray area comes into play. So just step yourself through these and really think about what this means. So you know, interestingly enough, this morning I popped onto LinkedIn, and two of my former colleagues, I saw one person, I know what the mentoring cycle is for them. And I know the two, the mentee and the mentor. And the mentee gave one of those kudos shout outs on LinkedIn. Well, thanks, Harrison. You're an amazing mentor. Like, super happy that we were in this relationship together. Good job. So those are the kind of things that maybe you want to say, hey, maybe that's one of the ones where you say, hey, I would like to do this on LinkedIn, you know, and is that okay with you? And so you can also have those timely conversations about confidentiality. So I probably beat this one, but I just really want to stress the importance of this, because the last thing you want to do is to erode trust because you both had different viewpoints on what confidentiality had, or what confidentially meant.
Debbie, I'm just going to jump in real quick. And ladies, my experience, I know Amy can speak for this as well. We've had an opportunity to travel across the United States, both in our careers, mine working for Arkema Road Science and Amy working for the Asphalt Pavement Alliance, but also as representatives of Women of Asphalt. And we say that this is a small industry, that, you know, it's a very tight industry. Everyone knows everyone. And if they don't know them, they know somebody who does know them. So Debbie, I appreciate that you spending the extra amount of time on this. We want you to make sure that this is a platform where you can share, you know, let's just call them intimate details. We have challenges at work sometimes. And, you know, there are things that you might not want splashed across the front page of a paper, but there are things that need to get worked through. So I really have to stress, please, if you have any qualms about this, if you don't think that you're going to be able to adhere to these, certainly let Carrie and Debbie know, and we can make some accommodations. We don't want to put anyone in an uncomfortable situation, excuse me. But of all the things that we talk about today, this really is the most important thing. There has to be discretion, and there has to be confidentiality. I don't want to say that we're going to be kicking people out of the program, but we really can't have people in that aren't going to abide by this agreement. It's that important. So again, any questions, reach out to Carrie or Debbie or myself, and we can help you with that. But we really appreciate you giving this the level of importance that it deserves.
Yeah, and I maybe would just close off with saying, if you ever have, you know, you have this aha moment as part of your mentorship, menteeship relationship, you're like, wow, I was just talking to somebody yesterday that could really use this information, then just ask. Say, hey, would it be okay if I shared this story with my husband, because I think it would be very beneficial with them. And then you've disclosed, you've discussed, and you can move along with that. No worries. So again, this confidentiality is not really this. These are questions to contemplate. You really take the learnings from this confidentiality, questionnaire and put it into that mentoring agreement. All right. So moving along. So you were excited in your first meeting. You went through the blank forms. You went through your personal blueprints together. You got to know each other, and you went out of there and you were just super excited. And now you're getting ready for your second one. And we've retained our 3 to 10% of what we retained from our conversations. And you're like, oh, now I'm nervous. Like maybe I've built this expectation up, whatever that might be. Know that likely both of you are a little bit nervous or anxious or whatever that looks like. So remind each other what felt special about that first meeting. The mentee would have taken away the conversations that you had from that mentoring agreement and actually documented it onto that form, because the mentee is driving the relationship. So review that completed mentorship and confidentiality agreement. Make sure that you're aligned. Review any actions that came out of that first meeting. Then you can start going into your, again, reason of being there. What are your goals? Where do you think you need help? And I believe by then your two-way conversation is going to get going. And maybe you need to, do a little bit more trust building, etc. That's okay too. But, really take your gut and go with it. Okay, so now you're, however long you've allocated for that second meeting, it's done. Again, reaffirm your meeting cadence and timing, your takeaway and actions and commitments, and be ready to meet for the next time. Okay, so I just wanted to talk about common derailers. All of the tools that we've provided are there to help prevent you being derailed on your journey, but it happens. So I want to just, these are also things to talk about together, like not enough time. Again, this is a formal program. You've signed up with the intention of allocating a certain amount of time. As part of your mentorship agreement, you've talked about, I want to meet monthly for an hour, or whatever that looks like, whatever that cadence looks like. So hopefully you don't deprioritize this. So maybe you don't have enough time. Okay, this is where you can go if one of you is putting the time in and one of you is not, maybe you refer back to your mentorship agreement and say, hey, look, we had this and I don't know, I get that there's things going on, but I really need your time, or whatever that might look like. So you can have a conversation around that. Having unrealistic expectations. Thinking that your mentor or your mentee, but usually more likely your mentor, is actually going to change your life for you. I think we all know that the only person going to change your life is you. So don't put that on your mentor or your mentee, that your life's going to get changed, that they're going to do it for you. Personal problems. These things come up. Maybe you're having, I know actually last year, the mentor I was assigned to, I was going through some stuff in my life, and I actually I wanted to make the time, but I was having personal problems that was actually pulling myself away from that. And so I didn't develop my mentee-mentor relationship like I wish I had. But I let her know, and she was very understanding. And I still text message her my Orange Theory Fitness workouts, just to let her know that I'm still thinking about her. And at some point in time, we'll pick our relationship back up. But by me being able to share with her that, took a little bit of a burden off of myself, as well as just let her know a little bit more about me and things that I value. And so again, then we will be able to pick it up once we're both ready. Mismatched values. Sometimes your values are mismatched. We're hoping that we're all professional and mature enough that we can actually embrace our opposite and be able to learn from anybody, but sometimes you might not be able to. And I mean, I guess there's some, I guess you know where your lines are that you're not going to cross. I hope that you can work through them, but if not, of course, get back to the mentorship program and we'll be able to figure out how we might be able to reassign you. But for the most part, I think that if you can really honor your opposite in this case, then you might actually learn a lot more than you thought you were going to. Honestly, this is jealousy. I didn't get matched with Natasha, and I'm mad that Carrie did, and I'm just so jealous. Really, again, this is what you put into your application. If you said in your application that I need A, B, and C, and Natasha said I can provide X, Y, and Z, of course we weren't going to get matched up together. But maybe she did say B, C, and D, and it just appeared to be a better match that Carrie, got Natasha for the mentor and I didn't. So there's always next year, as well as this Women of Asphalt in general is a real great platform for us to connect with anybody. We see all of your faces on here today. There's no reason why we can't connect in a different way, maybe LinkedIn or whatever. That doesn't necessarily mean that Natasha's going to take you on as a mentor. She may not have the time. But anyways, I think you get what I mean.
I don't want to forget, I don't think we mentioned it before, but we do have a Women of Asphalt LinkedIn group, a private group. So if you're not on there, you do have to be admitted. So whenever you get a chance, go on, and that's another connection for us. Not associated with the mentorship program, but it's another connection for linking in.
Okay, and then misaligned expectations. We went through all the expectations. If you've gone through your mentorship agreement, the mentorship agreement you could always go back to and be like, hey, remember when we talked about this? Or do we need to add this? Or maybe we need to adjust this? But remember, your mentorship agreement really helps you combat a lot of these derailers. It also gives you that discussion tool. So please use it. Okay, this one was really an important slide to me that I, when I was building it, is you can't expect one person to do it all. I remember about 15 years ago, as I was searching around my oil and gas company, looking for somebody that I wanted to emulate, which I thought I was looking for a mentor. And there wasn't a lot of emails that I could see around there. That doesn't mean that the males weren't, fully capable, but we know why we're all here is that sometimes it's easier to look across and be like, hey, mother to mother, we get each other, right? But I would look at this woman and I'd be like, oh, she's this, and this, but she's not this, and this. And so I was really struggling to find myself a mentor. But in my head now, I see it. I was looking for a role model to be my mentor. And that was an unrealistic expectation. And I actually would say that I really did myself a disservice by not embracing a mentor earlier on in life, and that I had this high expectation that a mentor needed to be a role model. They are completely different. Role models are somebody you want to become. You admire their traits, and usually you never meet them, never ever meet them. And probably if you met them, they wouldn't be your role model anymore because you'd see all their faults that you didn't like. A coach talks at you. So if you've ever been in sports, they're very focused on one little sliver of your life, and they're coaching you to be the ultimate best in that one little sliver of life. So I was a figure skater when I was young. My coach coached at me all the time, and because she wanted me to be able to do a certain level of jumps or a certain level of dances or whatever it might be. And there was some other benefits of mentorship from a personal growth development, but it wasn't about my career. Well, at one point I hoped it was because of my career, but that didn't work out for me. Anyhow, she just coached at me, and we paid her really well. A mentor. So of course the mentor talks with you, shares experiences. They may have different viewpoints contrary to your own direction. You end up coming coming out of that relationship with, some other opinions. They're not just directing you down one way, because you might want to take another path. These often develop, as Natasha and Amy mentioned, they often develop into long-term relationships, formally or informally, and they often transition to an informal relationship. And then a sponsor. So a sponsor typically lives somewhere within your organization or within a group that you belong to, and that they talk about you when you're not in the room, and they put you up for promotions, awards, etc. So I would suggest that your mentor can't be all four, but you may lean upon your mentor to be, a mentor and a sponsor, a mentor and a coach. They may be your role model if somehow you luck out and you find like the perfect woman of Asphalt. And if so, don't tell anybody, because then everybody will want her time and they'll tell everybody. So, all right. So I think I saw over here, are the toolkits available on the website? And yes, they are. So I'm going to just step you through how you get there. So you're going to go to www.womenofasphalt.org, which you've been accustomed to going to. You're going to log on to your member portal. Okay. So you'll go through and you'll type in your password and your username, and it'll bring you to here. And so then you will go on to here and you will hover over Get Involved, Mentorship Program, and Mentorship Program Resources. And only mine says super awesome company name and individual. No, I'm just kidding. All of yours should say that if they don't say that as your name. Anyways, oh, how did that go that way? All right, so you're going to go to Program Resources, and then you're going to come across two tables, and I'll get them zoomed in for you here, but we have a list of recommended resources and then extra resources. So your recommended to complete resources are all they're PDF documents except the personal blueprint. So of course we showed you the mentorship agreement and the confidentiality questionnaire. Roles and expectations, gave you a summary earlier on. Relationship ground rules, what does that look like for your particular mentorship menteeship relationship? Your personal blueprint, it's a fun way to get to know each other, and I'll step you through that in a moment. And then a personal action plan. If you haven't set goals for yourself before, this will help you set about 3 goals that you would like to achieve during this 1-year time frame, or maybe longer, depending on what your outlook is for your goals. Okay, so some additional resources, again, all PDF documents, reading material. They might be, an exercise that you go through and map out your career journey. I'm not going to go through all of these. We've suggested, what I didn't mention on the last one, but suggested is this for the mentee or the mentor. There's a lot more mentor tools in here to help the mentor feel like they are taking the mentee on the right journey, that they are, being quiet at the right time and giving information at the right time. I don't know if it gets too much into that, but definitely helps the mentor here continue to grow the relationship, as well as helps the mentee, really articulate and formulate their plans to be successful in their careers. Okay, so there is a PowerPoint template that's included in those resource tools, and really it just this is a personal blueprint is what we're calling it. And so you'll have some areas to add any pictures that you might want to share that might give a little extra flavor of who you are. And then if you could see, and you will be able to once you log on and look at that template, but you have, how do you get to somebody's personality? So you have organizational dimensions, external dimensions, internal dimensions, and then personality. And of course, it's hard to actually put your personality in text form, if you will. So that's why you kind of have these different visual aids. So we just wanted to show you Betty White, pulled some stuff off the internet. She was world renowned, We know a lot about her. She's, you know, Saturday Night Live. How many times has she been on there? She's a hilarious woman. But there are some other traits that she has that I didn't know about. So, you know, born in Illinois, but raised in California. She's been married a few times, but her husband has now died. Early on, she really loved wildlife and she was going to have a completely different career. But unfortunately, she wasn't allowed to serve as a ranger in the 1930s. Hopefully in 2030, we don't have those issues anymore, right? During World War II, she enjoyed volunteering, and now you can see how she's combined her voluntary services as well as her love of animals, as she's a pet enthusiast and an animal rights activist, and she loves to travel. She's old, but we all know her as being happy, witty, vivacious, and outgoing. So I hope that you all embrace this template. I think it's really fun, and it's a fun way to get to know each other and just share, like, here's a goofy picture of me and my kids, like skating in Banff, which by the way is a beautiful place. Call me up if you come to Calgary. Okay, so that is the end of like the training, but we put together a fun exercise for you to participate in, because maybe this is one of the things that you can use to get to know yourself and then also get to know your mentee or your mentor. So if you would, just grab yourself a piece of paper. You only have to write 4 letters down. Grab a piece of paper and a pen and answer the following questions. So, would you rather go out or chill at home? So if it's go out, put an E. If it's chill at home, put an I. When taking in new information, do you use your 5 senses? If so, write down an S, or look at the bigger picture. If so, jot down an N. When making up your mind, do you rely mostly on logic or emotion? That's a T or an F. And would you rather your life be planned out, indicated J, or spontaneously driven? You can jot down a P. So of course, these are like 4 quick questions that you can use to, you know, kind of indicate your Myers-Briggs personality type. So, you know, extrovert, introvert, sensing or intuition, thinking, feeling, or judging or perceiving. So the reason why we do this is so you can find out, and hopefully everyone's had enough time to contemplate this, you can find out, drum roll. Okay. What is your spirit animal? So I know it's probably pretty small on your screen there, and you will have get a copy of this afterwards. But what you can do is go and check out, are you an ENFJ like I am, with an alter ego of elephant, ESFJ? And you know, you can have a quick look through the descriptor words there and say, oh yeah, those do make sense. So, you know, for myself, I'm a dog, like I just said, an alter ego as an elephant. I hate bullying. I love to greet loved ones with hugs. I'm adaptive. I feel great when others feel great. So all of your smiling faces, I've been so happy to see as we've worked our way through there. As an elephant, you know, sometimes you have to put on a different personality, or draw a different personality, and genuine and authentic are the 2 things that I always have. But most harmonizing, you know, I do like when things go smooth and people aren't frowning at me. So, you know, you've learned in a very quick 1 minute, you've learned so much about me, and this is just a tool that you can use. Now, I just wanted to point out that these aren't like some deep spiritual, you know, connected to any religion, or it's not connected to any like indigenous group or anything like that. Literally, I found this quiz and it resonated so deeply for me, but on a jewelry website. And then of course I got myself a little elephant jewelry. So there's no association with branding or anything like that, but I just thought I'd point out that if you resonate as deeply with this as I have, you can too have your own necklace. So it's
Debbie, when we did this last week, or when we went through this a couple of weeks ago, I mentioned it to my best friend, and she went on and sent me the link. It's called 16personalities.com.
Yeah.
And that matches up with these 16 personalities. And I'm a lion, go figure. She was like, oh my God, this is so you. And when you read it, I think you will be amazed reading through this, how much it is. It's very, very accurate, extremely accurate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Betty White, I peg her as a dolphin parrot. And you will notice that I used some words from this in what I deemed her personality type is. So I hope that you can use this as a fun tool to get to know your mentor and your mentee. So that's the end of our formal part. We would love to, oh, look, there's so many parrots and owls out there. We would love to review your questions in the chat and then also answer any questions that you may have. At any time, you are welcome to email us at info@womenofasphalt.com. And I will turn it over to Michelle to tackle the questions, or at least read them out to us, and we'll try and answer them. Thanks everybody.
Debbie. Yeah, thank you, Debbie. And thank you, everybody, for being on here. We appreciate your participation in this program. And I enjoyed seeing what everybody's spirit animal was. Thanks for sharing that. So a couple questions we did get was, I know Debbie answered one of them already, but another one was, even though this is being recorded, can we get a copy of this PowerPoint presentation?
Yeah, and so I can jump in, and then Debbie, feel free to chime in and get more specific. But this will be available on the website. So you navigate to the mentorship portal area, and in the mentorship program, there will be a link to this. Debbie, anything else you would add about where specifically?
No, that sounds great. I don't know if we have quite figured out how we're sharing the recording, but the PowerPoint presentation, I believe, will also be in the resources toolkit. It's not posted yet, but will be.
Yeah.
Thanks. And I just want to remind everyone, you do need to be logged in as a Women of Asphalt member in order to see that information, because it is only available to you. Another question we have is, can you, I have a friend who wants to participate in the program. Can she join now?
So unfortunately, at this point, for the 2021 cycle, the answer is not right now. However, we will open up applications for the 2022 program in the third quarter of next year, and definitely encourage folks to sign up then. But at this point, the answer is, no, the program's closed and we've already done all of the matching. And so just go tell them how awesome it is and encourage them to join for 2022.
Great, thanks, Carrie.
Can you just give them a little bit of insight? Because I know I had people that had asked as well, and I had asked you that question, just how, you would think, well, why can't we just add one more person? Why is it that we're being very particular that it's closed and that's it? Good
point. The matching process is really intensive, and we did spend a lot of time on trying to make sure we had the right matches. And so adding a new participant, then you have to kind of reshuffle and you have to go back and ask, and we really don't want to disrupt the relationships we've already communicated. We did make some initial shuffles based on different requests that came in, and so at this point we've locked it in, and this is the matches we're going to go with. And then next program cycle, definitely encourage them to jump in, and we'll get them signed up and get them paired up.
Okay, great. And then another question we have is, how do I review my initial mentor request answers? I have no recollection of what I wrote, and I can actually answer that one. If you want to see what your initial registration information was that you sent in, if you contact that info@womenofasphalt.com, we'll make sure you get that information directly to you. So you can just email and we'll provide that information to you. Another one we have is, can I have a list of all the mentors and mentees?
So at this point, no. And the rationale for that is, we really want to try to respect those pairs. And so the mentors do have access to that full list, and they're able to see, because in some cases they're paired up with more than one mentee. But at this point, we've locked it down and we're going to proceed. And so as we communicated to the mentees, your mentor was CC'd on the list. And so you have access to who that is and vice versa. You have contact information. But at this point, we're not going to release the full list for confidentiality. We're just trying to maintain that the best that we can. And we'll go from there.
Okay, we have another question here. Is there a way to upload our resource files so both people can see them all in one place? And I have a feeling, for if I understand correctly, it's you'll need to coordinate that with your partner on how you want to review that, because it'll be something that's just between you two, communication between you two. I hope that answered your question. Anybody else want to?
Maybe I'll just jump in there. Yeah, I guess I didn't really cover that off. So we don't want your forms back. These are tools between yourself, your mentee, and your mentor. The women of Asphalt want to respect your confidentiality, and those are just tools for the two of you. So if you want to create yourself a spot in OneDrive or whatever, that's great. Now, if you're asking, hey, I want to download all 18 of our of the resource files, Michelle, maybe we could put a zip file on there to say like, hey, download all of these all at once. And so that'll also be available in the resource tools if that's helpful for you. Again, I want to stress that it's between the two of you. It is also not mandatory that you complete 19 items. That's too overwhelming. It is a use as you need toolkit, and we have recommended a few tools to get your mentorship relationship started and on the right foot.
Thanks for that, Debbie. I think that's a great point. And then I was just going to add, one thing that I don't think we also mentioned, and maybe this is coming up in the questions. I haven't looked at the potential chat questions, but I know we've gotten some questions from folks about what is the right cadence and what would we recommend as a baseline in terms of how frequently to meet or what does that look like. And so at this point, our recommendation is you meet for a minimum of 1 hour per month. And so it's a total commitment of at least 12 hours. Obviously, when you sit down and you work with your mentor or mentee partnership and you have the conversation about it, if you need to make adjustments on that one way or the other, go for it. But that's just our initial recommendation for all you folks.
Okay. I have another question here. What's the first step to get started and who should do what?
Debbie, you want to take that one?
Sure. Yeah. So as mentioned, again, the mentee drives that relationship. So mentees, if you have not reached out to your mentors yet, I would recommend that you do so between now and that first week of January and set up your first meeting. And I wish you luck and on your way. Like, I think I'm really excited that this is finally launched. And I hope that you are able to go your January to December in a successful way and be successful in your careers. So again, mentees, you reach out to your mentors.
Ladies, I wanted to add a couple of things real quick. When you were talking about the cadence, Carrie, one of the things I would encourage you ladies, I know we've got a lot of people doing a lot of different jobs on here. Some of you are sitting at a desk all day in front of a computer and some of you aren't. I would highly encourage you to get in the habit of doing these calls via Zoom or some sort of a video conferencing, especially in times of COVID. And I know our company is still in travel lockdown through at least the end of January. It really is going to help foster that connection. If you can't be there to meet for coffee or meet for a martini, and I think both are fine, if you can at least see each other, that's going to help a lot. That's going to help build the trust and the engagement with one another. And then the other thing I would strongly encourage you ladies is to try to keep a personal journal about your experience. This is the first year we're doing it. This is all new for all of us. As Amy said, she's never been in a formal mentoring program and neither have I. So there's a lot to be learned this year, and there's going to be some bumps along the way. Although all of you that have looked at this presentation, and if you've spent any time with Carrie and Debbie and the ladies working on this, it's a first-class job. So I think it's going to be pretty smooth. But that being said, going forward, we hope to have 50 Women of Asphalt branches across the country here and for our ladies across the world. And there's going to be opportunities in these different states to talk about your experience. And so if you kind of journal how this went for you, there might be we might ask you in your respective state if you wouldn't mind sitting in on a roundtable discussion and talk about your experiences. We're trying to get another mentorship program going up. So always good to kind of memorialize things that are happening and to be able to share with others in the future.
Yeah, and I guess I would just recommend as well, like my dentist would always say, if you have a complaint, let us know. And if you think it's wonderful, let everybody else know. So we do want to make this, better and better and better as we go. So we need that feedback loop, just saying, hey, this is going well, this isn't going well. So anytime you have that, info@womanofasphalt.com, you can email us.
And then we had another question is there a particular platform that mentors and mentees should be using, such as Zoom or Teams? And I would think that would be what the mentors and mentees we each feel comfortable or both have access to.
Exactly.
Any other questions? Last chance. I don't see anything else coming in. Thanks for your questions.
All right. Well, thank you, ladies, very, very much. Looking forward to working with all of you throughout this program. I'm excited that you've all signed up. And we will talk soon. If you have any questions, you know how to get a hold of us. So thank you all, and best wishes.
Thanks, ladies.
See you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.